What's up, everybody? It's Eve, even though you can't see me, and Marie.
Hey y'all.
And we're here with another episode, another show of Millennials Adulting. And I'm so happy y'all are joining us tonight. Thank you for tuning in. And I think we're pretty on time tonight. So I'm actually pretty proud of myself for dragging my ass here and making our way to this conversation. It's going to be an uncomfortable conversation. I don't know what y'all know, but maybe we kind of get into it a little bit. Today, April 22nd, 2024, PBA heads to court. Did I say it? I did say it. I'm going to say it again. TBA headed to court. And actually, he didn't head to court. This is what I wanted to talk about. I think in a day and age when people are being deprived of resources, and a lot of conversations that we've had, Marie, has been, the little person or the underdog is trying to fight this really big monster, and then expecting people to have some humanity about themselves, right? And then they're told, no, just pull up your big girl or big boy panties and fight it yourself. Well, I think that that's kind of what I've been doing with regards to the monster that I've been dealing with. So um, I don't know if you're familiar with this monster. Maybe he's a drill sergeant to you, or maybe he's something else. Do you have any you have any thoughts or anything before I go into what I'm about to go into?
Honestly, I kind of feel like I am wondering if how many people are watching that do know everything, but then the idea that someone who puts themselves in a heavy light in a community where they're kind of respected as, I guess an authority on things. The irony is for them to also be a predator. Um, and for me to even kind of witness some of this behavior myself over the years, it's just kind of ironic for this to kind of come to light. And I don't even know if it's ironic. Maybe it's due. It's due, right? You can only do certain things or operate a certain way for so long before who you are starts to come out.
It's very interesting. You can only wear the mask for so long. That's what it sounds like you're saying, and I've actually heard that from Mr. Black, right? And this is not doxing, so fuck everybody who keeps saying that I'm doxing this person who uh, exposed private things about me, which would be closer to doxing than anything that I'm doing. This is public information. You can pull it up yourself. In the city of Norfolk, Mr. Black has or had a warrant out for, here it is right here, disseminate images of another, which is a class 1 misdemeanor here in this state. And this is the court document numbers right there for all of you who kept saying that I'm just out here trying to make a name for myself, or I'm just out here trying to
Where
uh,
would the value be in that? So,
say that again.
where would the value be in that? To be honest with you, he has such a large following. Would be in your interest for you to kind of go along, get along, play along. If you really just were out here just trying to make your name, because um, you would have an opportunity to have your name put out there if you just kind of go along with the game.
Exactly. If
Much quicker. So you'd actually get further much quicker if you were willing to kind of play ball or,
and
go this way.
that's not even a conversation that's unfamiliar to these people, because in real time they'll say, like a coon, or like a person who's buck broken, or a person who is a shill. They go along to get along, right? And then they get as far as they're going to get before they get, quote, broken. um,
Mhm.
I like that analogy is out there, because if you allow yourself to be used, then yeah, somebody can break you. That shit
Mhm.
is real. And in real time, they could try to break me, and I just can't take that lying down. I have a channel. No, it's not as big as his, but I can speak about what's happened to me and hope that nobody has to go through the same thing. But then it brings me to being a parent. Like, there's a lot of uncomfortable conversations we're going to have with our children, and not just because you went through some shit, but maybe about some shit. Maybe you don't want them to go through the shit, but how do you make it real for them? unless you've been through, like where
It's
you
one of those things where some things they're not going to get it until it happens. So I think that, because we were already, for me at least, I have a 19-year-old and I have a 16-year-old. Because they grew up when social media already existed, I feel like they're probably more concerned about how we utilize social media than, them having a desire to utilize that. So that being said, I think that they're fully aware of what can happen. I think we have a more sensitive group of young people growing up too, so they're more aware of like bullying, the impacts of it, etc. So that being said too, they can see, okay, well, you don't want to use it for like bullying. You want to be cognizant of your imagery, how it can be everywhere, um, very quickly. Even like my daughter, she does photography, so to some degree she does, understand that like images, because of how she has to, disseminate the information or share the images with her peers and things like that. But she fully is aware of like how quickly that stuff. I think she has like maybe 4 or 5 like little items on her social media, like complete, like in totality of her Instagram. Um, I think that I think we have a generation of people more aware. You know what I mean? Look, I'm also trying to read this. Um,
actually, I'll go ahead. The Dojo of Manhood said, "Where are the goofballs asking where's the proof?" Well, the state of Virginia said there's probably cause to prosecute, which is to the new people who are joining us tonight. I will share the publicly sourced information that I have that you can look up yourself with the information that's out there. Boom, there it is. It's like, boom, there it is. Nope, actually, is it there yet?
it's there. My concern, or I guess my only thing with the public, is maybe they're not fully aware, and I don't
Mm,
know how comfortable or what you feel like sharing either.
no, that's a really good point. Maybe my mods will get off their app. No, I'm just kidding. No, all the way free. If you don't mind, you could maybe share uh, the program with Judge Joe Brown, which goes into in a lot of detail about what the fuck happened. But basically, y'all's favorite internet daddy uh, engaged in some fucked up shit with regards to violating me. It's some bad business, Emmanuel. Thank you. You took the words right out of my mouth. Um, Bad business. Um, you can't use people's privacy against them, and that's what was happening. And no, I wasn't doing anything super fucked up as much as, I thought people were people. I thought people were who they said they were. I don't know, I'm a person, Marie, and people are really, they really wanting me to be on this pedestal of, well, you're a mom, how could you even involve yourself with somebody like that? Do you hear how he talks about women? And I was like, oh, well, you got me there.
But
You're
I
right.
think there's some manipulation there as well. Just and I judging or going off of what I know about him in general, is I could see the manipulation, coercion, and just even kind of the things that he may say that would separate you, because he's not talking about you, he's talking about these other women that they do this or that. And then going back to a lot of his following came from relaying information to the Black community, so it kind of came across like this is a respectable man. um,
Right, right. That's that mask that you were talking about. You can only wear a mask for so long. And as a Black person, I don't know if that's a mask you can take off as much as maybe maybe you feel stronger about other things, right? Like if we're talking about two different channels, maybe the passion is on the relationship side of things, and then just being Black in America is just a byproduct of being Black in America. Being able to articulate your experience is good, because some people can't, right? You're going through some shit and you can't even really explain it, but you find somebody who's very good with words and they can put something that you've experienced in a way that people will listen to it. It's like, oh, yeah,
It's so relatable.
it is, right? So
Very relatable. And again, some of the information is very helpful, was valid, it was solid information. So you can't pretend like that didn't exist either. So there's a certain trust and respectability there. It's like respectability politics being played. So it's like someone lures you in. They come across as if they value the integrity of the Black community as a whole, the growth, the empowerment. Um, and then for this, and then kind of to some degree, but in his private life it's like a total different thing to some degree. But I feel like it's almost as if it's like Jekyll and Hyde. This is how I present myself publicly, and then going back to to some degree, it's like not just Jekyll and Hyde, but going back to I'm going to set you apart. I'm going to make it seem like you're different or you're not like them. And, oh, I value. And then, too, the thing is that if you do have so much to bring to the table, you know what I mean? You're very knowledgeable. You're very educated. You
stable.
research. So it's like, even to imagine someone calling that out, like you're all these things, but really I'm saying all this too. Everything is true. So even when I'm pouring into you and I'm saying this stuff to you, it's all true. You know, it's true. In fact, that's even more why you believe me.
That part,
Um,
the fact
so
that
you're feeling seen to some degree. But then to me, I look at it as someone having a large platform, having a large base, having influence to some degree, and then basically abusing it.
that's
And and it's to me that I don't necessarily, I think that it's like I don't even want to say it's about being Black. It's almost just about having influence. And to some degree, some of the stuff we talked about recently, or you see these different celebrities or people going down, it's these people that get into certain positions, high positions, and then they just think they can do what the fuck they want, or they're just as shitty behind closed doors. Privately, they're terrible fucking people. And even some of the things, even like some of the rhetoric too, sometimes I think it took some time to really see, just even like, oh, how he really values women, or he almost commodifies them. That's why everything is, you'll hear a lot of things about what you can buy them, this, that, money, this is money, and cars and expensive items, because it's like you really don't see them as anything other than like a token or an accessory.
a trophy.
Yeah.
A No, he says the men are supposed to be the workhorse and the women are supposed to be the show pony. And
But I'm sure he needs women to pay for some stuff when they're donating to whatever fucking documentary he's working on, so they can be producers.
but
Um,
I need to get some damn. I need some audio reels because some of the shit you say is a mic drop, and I don't want to say mic drop because look, if you've been doing this for 15 fucking years, all I'm gonna say is that some of the shit that you might say that people might accredit to you might just be some shit people say. Like I, you can't claim mic drop. You can't claim, some of this shit that just people do because that's disingenuous. That's what is it? That's Dojo said it. That's fraudulent business. Okay, let me stop.
Real dirty behavior. I think the thing is, though, I think it makes you more cognizant of the predators within your own backyard. We talk about all these things. We talk about, it kind of goes back to, it's like there's a lot of folks that look just like us. They say all skin folks ain't kin folks. There's a lot of people that look just like you that do not have your best intention at heart. And to me, I don't necessarily even think that you can kind of parade yourself around and say you're pro-Black, but not actually value women or value family.
Value family. Look, Marie, let me just tell you in real time, I can respect a man who says that they can't settle down or that they don't want to settle down, or they're honest about their wanting to do other shit, because in real time women will say, well, he didn't tell me. Okay, so if there's a guy out here telling you this is what he wants to do, that's cool. But what happens is these people who are listening to him, they think that they're gonna do the things that he's talking about because he's supposed to be a person doing the things that he's talking about. And I mean, on a basic level, with regards to Black empowerment, like you were just talking about, You can't attack the Black family and say that you're about Black empowerment. That's like an oxymoron, like jumbo shrimp. And well, I mean, I guess we have jumbo shrimp, so oxymorons exist, but to
Are
what
they
end?
prawns though? Oh, no, are they prawns? No, to what end? I think that it's going. It's like someone parading around. It's really good. A great way to get the masses. Because even some of the stuff, if I'm regurgitating information, the problem is that a lot of people are lazy. They're not looking to find information. They want someone that's going to disseminate it all to them. And then also, too, at the end of the day, there's a lot of fucked up people, both men and women, and they're looking for somebody that's going to perpetuate whatever the fuck their belief system is. So if I think all women are trash or they're not enough, or if I think that Black women have multiple baby daddies and they're pieces of shit, or whatever the fuck I've come up with, I need somebody that's going to play that tune for me. You know what I mean? I need someone to play that tune about whatever this is, or even too, if I desire, I'm very materialistic. I need someone to play the tune of the Maybach. Um, I
Mm,
need someone that's going to talk about that. Never mind just stability. When we live in a country that's so deep in debt that ideally, like a Maybach, because it's almost like too promoting an Instagram life. So this is like an influencer without the influence or without the imagery, because it's just fucking talk, right? So you're never like, well, I've never actually seen him in the Bentley or the Maybach or whatever it is that we're talking about, or this $100,000 vehicle. I don't even, but again, I'm promoting this to my followers. You know what I mean? You got to secure the
mm.
bag, I guess, so you can secure the woman to manipulate, or I guess be your trophy or what have you. But and I say that to say though too that there's versions of him that exist within women as well. So I want to be clear on that, where there are women pursuing, they're following other women influencers that maybe this woman constantly talks shit about men. This is her whole, like, she really hates men deep down. This is her whole like thing. Like, it's a vibe. There are women that are hurt and damaged. They need someone that's echoing their thoughts. There's echoing their sentiment. And to me, he does that. He makes some of these men that typically would go just would go unnoticed and seen.
But here's the thing about that.
He's their hero. He's their daddy.
I feel like with the women, it's we're we're more in the forefront of being told that the reason we feel like this is because we're jaded or we're hurt. And then on that side of things, there's no questions, there's no context. And I personally feel, y'all, look, y'all, I'm just Steve, right? This is my personal feelings about this shit. But if he were to come out as, I'm sorry, not come out. I didn't mean that.
Shit, maybe come out, right? Come out
Maybe I meant that. I don't know. I meant
behind the photo.
if he came at it as a person who had gone through some things, like he wants to understand why. Because look, I mean, the way he used the women around him, from what I've learned from the women who want to pillow talk to me, it's that we're supposed to be this insight, this blind spot that he has. And because he has a blind spot, he needs help there. And because he needs help there, well, you're that type of woman
That's
who,
how he sucks you in. Oh, I need you. You're a valuable resource.
oh, dang, Marie.
I want to share everything with you.
You
Oh,
got it.
I feel so special because this man is he's so untouchable. He's hard to, no one even knows anything about him. No one even sees, no one's even seen him. Like, who is he? He's so mysterious and he wants to talk to me and he wants insights on everything from me. And I'm sorry I have to do that because at one time it was like he wanted to tell me things. And I was kind of like, I really don't give a fuck. Like, I care because I'm nosy, but I don't really care. I'm just nosy as hell. Like I am that person that sometimes doesn't care about something. I'm like, yeah, well, I wanted to, like, do you want to know? I'm like, not really, but really, like, I don't do drama, but I'm a big fan of other people's shit, like big
Look,
fan. Like
speaking
just
of drama,
emerging kind of, like just curious, I don't know. It's like I will say curiosity kills the cat. And to some degree, I almost feel like we too would have been in the same boat if I had to let my curiosity take me too far.
you were talking about drama, and Palmetto in the chat said women try to destroy a woman even if she looked like she's about to be off code. I think that that's part of that sisterhood of dysfunction that people talk about, because essentially if it was a sisterhood, then it wouldn't be like destroy as much as it would be like correct, like
Provide.
correct, guide, teach, provide some sort of um well, I don't want to say internship, but training, the
I don't
game
know.
needing to be passed down, you know that sort of thing.
I think it's like kind of like almost like you pull someone to the side kind of thing. And I think we don't see that enough. Even so, I'll be honest and say, sometimes there's things I post on my social media and I have no idea that this shit is gonna be like taken this far, or it could be, and even too, what I post and what I feel about it typically has way more depth than whatever like the surface is. One, people don't like to fucking read, so I can't write a whole expose. However, like when I'm sharing something, for me, it could be something like, even recently there was a post where it was kind of like, hey, for me personally, I'm never choosing a man because I need him financially. That doesn't mean I don't need him. Just may not be because of money, which also means I'm not going to stay with someone mistreating me, abusing me, or anything, because I don't have to. I don't have to. I'm just
Oh no,
privileged enough.
don't say some shit like that, because then
Oh
you'll
yeah. So that
get
was like the whole thing. But then the thing about it is, what I didn't share is behind the scenes of my own family's history, and not even just black men, white men, being with white men that were physically abusive. I had my grandmother's first husband. Not only was he physically and verbally abusive, he would get drunk and sleep with both men and women. And she got married at 17 and had 3 stepping stones, so a kid each year. So she was kind of in the situation where she was
yeah.
stuck with him until she wasn't. Um, and what I've watched, and I've even done, like I was recently reading like an article where they had found like all these old, I think it was like old like DNA samples, and there was so much incestuous situations going on with these children that were put up for adoption, different things like that. And so for me, what I believe is breaking generational curses where women don't have to stay in bad situations. It doesn't mean like I didn't, it doesn't mean that, oh, every man I choose, or right now I'm choosing the men I've chosen were so bad to me and that's why. No, not at all. That's nothing. That's not why my dating life is what it is. I'm like, that's not why. I'm like, I actually thought he was dumb. The last guy. But
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 then
overall,
now you're in the land of Marie. You're collecting bodies, Marie. Like they don't want you to bring all these bodies to the table. Like
I mean, the irony is you don't actually have to fuck everyone you're going to date with. So so and that's a beautiful
that's
thing.
the
You have the freedom of
conversation.
choice. I can choose to sleep with you or not. That being said, though, overall, like the post was like basically just saying, women don't have to tolerate certain things. Rufus used to be beating Arlene's ass. Even I was researching prohibition, and prohibition was really because men were just getting drunk and either abusing their family or spending all their money. And like there was a law put in place specifically because of that behavior. And honestly, no, it wasn't, probably wasn't black men, but it was men. That's why it was put in fucking place, right? And so there's all this little evidence or data. And it was like all the men, well, some of these women, not you, because not me, right? Because the men that follow me, they hate me, but they love me. So not me, not me, but these other women must be broken or damaged, and that's why they resonate with this post, and that's the only kind of person that, and it's just a lack of critical thinking. So even too, when I see things, or even when we've had that conversation about those certain kind of men, like those men
Well,
that show
I'm
up and
sorry.
they don't want to do the things.
I would have to put some of what we just talked about into context, because, at least to me, with regards to prohibition, black men don't have control over shit.
Yeah.
So whatever alcohol we were making or not making at the time, we were always making or not making, and then whatever behaviors we had, this shit was there. That white men were doing some real wild shit, and
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But
needing that.
that's why I don't. So even too, a lot of my rhetoric isn't specific towards black men. Though
Oh,
I identify as black, I have white grandfathers, you know. That being said,
that's the thing. Our audience is gonna be polarized with that in general. And we've never actually touched on it because I respect your identification as a Black woman. I've never even had a delineation conversation with you, and I really don't care to, because here on this channel, Millennials Adulting, there's going to be people in our age bracket who don't do the same things that we do. And if y'all think that we're all going to do something the same way, then y'all are the reason that we haven't actually fixed any of the fucking problems that everybody has identified are problems.
Well, that mistake is assuming that Black is monolithic. And that's something I think we struggle with within a community, period. That's why certain things are, oh, that's Black. Like, actually, no, that's because you grew up poor. It's not because you're Black.
Well,
Um,
see, that's a whole other conversation because Marie, monolithic, maybe there need to be some pillars from or inside of Black culture that don't go away, such as the Black family being, mom, dad, and their offspring. And mom and dad don't necessarily have to be, their biological parents as much as there's a dominant male figure there, a dominant female figure there, and they're pouring into the minis.
so what I love is that you use the term Black culture. And I say that because even too when we see we see fetishes, we see women, white women or women of other races fetishing Black men. They don't fetish Black men, they fetish Black culture. And so a lot of things that we identify again as Black are just Black culture, but it's actually not necessarily Black.
What do you mean by
And
that?
it's a distinction, like, so for example, um it could be our music.
So
And
what?
going back to too, so even too, the Black experience is not the African experience. It's not the Afro Latina experience necessarily, because the Black experience is exclusive to America just in general, because
There it
once we
is.
kind of came here, overall, even Black, white, that's just a social construct in order kind of to divide us, because all white folks ain't the same kind of white folks. And they're
And
not even within the same class or norm. So I think that differentiating that, or honestly looking like, huh. So even these women, it's like, oh, you don't love Black men, or you love Black culture, baby.
hey, that's you're definitely on the same wavelengths with me with regards to how people fetishize, Black, the Black experience. And then to a very big point that people have been making, and you're not even in these discussions, so I can appreciate that the information is out there in a big way. So this is the point to the room, because y'all keep having the same conversation. People don't have to quote quote delineate because they know who's Black and they know who's not Black. Like, y'all are getting stuck on lateral conversations on these spaces, and I just really hope that, if you ever frequent any of my conversations, you can get off of being stuck on stupid with regards to lateral conversations. People know who Black Americans are, and it doesn't have to be, so drawn out, because us having these drawn out conversations means we're not having conversations about other things. Like, we're not talking about how we can move the needle with our minis. Like tonight, that's kind of where I want the conversation to go, is that, we both have minis, and maybe some of y'all in the room have minis, and how are y'all talking to them about the technology? Because we didn't get these conversations at all. Our parents were not using technology the way that we're using them. So from there, what are you telling them? Are you telling them the internet's forever? And then are you also having crazy ass spats with people on Twitter where you're really acting out of character, but the internet's forever?
Happening to you, Eve? Because I'm not on Twitter like that anymore. I used to be, when I used to work for the DNC when Obama was being elected the second time. But after that, I kind of abandoned Twitter because I don't really care about. It's not that I don't care about politics. Nothing fucking happens. As you guys know, I get very upset, and that was when I had a dream.
You
Um,
have a dream?
but it sounds like something is happening on Twitter. Even you should.
Well, no, I got a little bit of a I I really like that Twitter has this interactive feature, Spaces. I'm using it right now. I like it. I also like being able to listen. Look, last night I was invited to a space, and I'm not gonna put him out there. So if you know, you know, and if you don't know, well, you just
Like
listen.
you were there for that conversation.
But I was invited to a space, and the space was about propaganda, but really the space was supposed to be about all this shit that's going on. And inside of all the shit that's going on, the stuff that I shared earlier in the program, sorry, not program, in the show, in this show
Not your
earlier.
broadcast. If you know, you know.
If you right, no. Um, Earlier in the show, I shared some publicly sourced information about TVA going to court, and he didn't go to court. It was continued. It was continued to June. Look, you guys can show up if you wanted to. You know, it's public. You could go to Norfolk General District Court on the day that's on the docket and see for yourself. You know, y'all's favorite internet daddy making his plea, guilty or not guilty. I think it would probably be easier if he just said, "Yeah, I fucked up. You know, I didn't. I had a lapse in judgment." That's the comment I keep seeing on my channels. If he just had a lapse in judgment, like, why are you trying to crucify this man? No, it's not even about crucifixion as much as y'all don't even read the Bible, so fuck you. And then I'm sorry. What I really wanted to say is that I was in this space yesterday, and it was about propaganda, and this person invited me to the space to talk about the stuff that's going on that I shared earlier. And inside of the whole conversation, I just listened. And I listened to him say, "It's not about TBA. It's not about TBA. It's not about TBA." And I'm like, "I'm sorry. You
But
invited me
nigga, who's it about then?
about TBA. Like, I don't understand."
I'm
So, an
sick.
hour, I just listened for an hour, and it was just like, yo, do the
So
people.
what was it about? So what was it? So since it wasn't about him, was it about your lapse in judgment?
No, see, that's the thing.
So I'm like, how is this being framed? I'm like,
It
I
was
need a
being
cookie. This
framed
is too
about the
much.
message. Everything keeps coming back to the message, Marie. Like, you can't follow the messenger, you got to follow the message. And I'm like, okay, yeah. You know, some people say
No.
some shit that makes sense. So that makes sense. Marie, if you say 2 plus 2 is 4, and I hold up 2 fingers and then 2 more fingers, and I add up to 4, then all right, the message
So
makes
I
sense.
mean, to me, what it sounds like is they're saying, like, you know what, he probably did do that. But I mean, he says all these other really good things, and he's really good at regurgitating the news to you guys, and he's great at putting PowerPoint presentations together for you.
PowerPoint.
Um, and so because he's such a good PowerPoint presentator with a little B-roll, you guys should overlook where this man has shown a complete lack of integrity and disregard for another human being because, well, you know, it's a good ass messenger, you know what I mean? Like, again, he gets the news out, you know, and we like to follow him. Plus, we donated all this money to his documentary and stuff too. So
Right. Did y'all get your money back yet? Because
yes.
he said he was going to give it back.
So I mean, to me, I call bullshit, and I think it goes back to um, we be afraid to call people out because they look like us, which is actually the person that looks like you with the closest proximity to you is the most fucking dangerous person to you. You know what I mean? Whether it's the first black president that actually, you know, is a fucking war criminal. There's a variety, whether it's your favorite artist that might be just a fucking dark pedophile, like that,
No, did he?
you know. But I mean, it's the thing is, it's like there's this thing of like we want to protect each other, but if anything, I want to expel the most corrupt. I want to expel the lowest. I want to drain my own swamp. I want to get the wolf out of my own. Like if I have sheep, I would like to get rid of the wolves within my own little herd. Like they're dangerous, they're poison. They and in the long run they end up doing more harm than good because it's all the stuff that they've done, you know what I mean? Whether it could be for, and I'm going to use someone, and people are going to like might have an issue with it, but I'm going to use Bill Cosby for example. He was here we go again. He was released from prison on a technicality. The technicality was that there was information that was used in the trial to get him convicted that actually was supposed to not be used, and they had signed the affidavit. So it wasn't that he was innocent. it was that the evidence they used was not supposed to be it was inadmissible. What they weren't supposed to use that evidence, and it was because of some other agreement he made with them prior to then.
So do you think that Bill Cosby was guilty of what exactly?
So again, whatever the 15 people said it was. The thing was, there is actual. I don't have there. It is. You can look the information up yourself.
No. That's
There is.
that's not my point, Marie. My point is that
Oh no, I actually think that he admitted to. I mean, he was in his own interviews admitting to like giving women quaaludes. So like whatever, like if anything, so I will say this: I have a hot topic for me. Anything with sexual assault is you can actually be a fucking murderer, and I might just ask you what the person did for you to murder them, and I may actually be able to overlook it. But anything dealing with sexual assault or rape, especially because there's so many willing people, I have a big pet peeve. And I don't I'm not very comfortable with overlooking it. That being said,
I actually can appreciate your transparency here, because equally transparent, look to the room. Me and Marie, I've already said this. There are things that we don't agree with in general in life or whatever, but I don't think that that should mean that we shouldn't be able to have constructive conversations. So to the room, should you feel like how I feel, about Mr. Cosby and, the system, that's how we feel.
and then I also feel like he wasn't a fan of Black folks of lower socioeconomic background.
Hold up, real quick, because that's a thing too. And inside of the Black experience, you could be Bill Cosby, Oprah, Michael Jordan, LeBron, Diddy, R. Kelly, or whatever, and have access to resources, and OJ, and either get railroaded or not get railroaded. And what happens is you think that you can move how these other people move, and you can't. So whether you were doing some shit that everybody was getting away with or not, like, niggas have always been the moral high ground. I'm sorry, the moral crossroad, the moral compass of every fucking body.
But then I don't know. I mean, Weinstein's still sitting in jail. So people aren't just getting away with shit. There's a whole list of white people we don't give a fuck about.
You got like white sacrifices, Brie. White sacrifices. Like
I mean, that was actually a Zionist sacrifice on top of that. Like Weinstein was very connected. I don't necessarily I don't 100% agree with, because there are documents, like it's documented, well documented evidence or situations of white men abusing their power with, obviously sexual assault, abuse and stuff like that within a lot of these industries. And they were charged with those crimes. And I think the difference is they're not high profile people, or even for us, they don't matter to us because they're not us, right? Bill Cosby had this
that's not it. It's what you said originally. It's that they're, quote, not high profile cases. And what happens is a lot of these nigga cases are not high profile cases, but because they're Black, we get propagandized, which that was what the whole room yesterday was about propaganda and how people use information to get out whatever the message is that they're trying to spew. And if you understand that, then you can really, you can be on demon time in a real fucking way. I mean, to because I don't want to stop on Bill Cosby. I know the room kind of blew up because they don't do, but
she thinks that I think that, and I stand on. I'll think of it tomorrow too.
You're supposed to. You're supposed to stand on how you feel.
Like I'm gonna stand on it tomorrow too.
It's wishy-washy. However, I posted this for you to check it out. Nicole's view, and maybe again my mods. No, I'm just kidding. Isla or All the Way Free. If one of y'all could type in the chat Nicole's Views channel for anybody who's not familiar with her coverage on the Cosby situation, because I feel like it was an unbiased, real time. Marie, I really think that you would like her views, and then not just like her views, but appreciate where she's coming from and like the evidence as presented. And then from there, again, you're going to feel like how you feel, but at least you have access to more information.
And I do. So understand too, like I follow Democrats, I follow Republicans, I follow Zionists, I follow everyone because I want to know what the fuck, what's being said, what's being talked about. And it actually wasn't, Cosby had his own incrimination. And I just looked this up because I wanted to make sure that I was clear. he had his own incriminating statements that he made that were supposed to be suppressed and that were not. That was what caused the trial to be overturned. So he may or may not have been guilty, but what they used to incarcerate him could not be used because it was supposed to be suppressed. That's why it was a technicality, not a, oh, he's innocent, we let him go. But
No,
that being
on
said,
that point, then I think Bill Cosby might
so
be
there could be a chance maybe he's innocent or he never was actually considered guilty or innocent. I'm not saying I agree with that. I still think what I think, but I will say he wasn't released because they found him, he wasn't found. I guess they didn't find him guilty. They just didn't find him um the information they used to try to,
guilty of the crime that they
yeah,
charged him with, which is
exactly.
how the system is supposed to work, which is what the chat's trying to tell you. Like,
Um
you can't just be guilty of something and then they try you for something else and then it can't do. That's the same thing with OJ. He went to jail because he stole his own shit back, but there's a lot of people like, yeah, he finally got justice, like.
yeah, but even OJ to me had so much anti-black sentiment. So I'll be honest and I'll say this. I also not a big fan of you're like, for example, all the shit that Cosby said about the black community for lower socioeconomic backgrounds and the things he was stating, implying that they weren't the respectability thing, that rubbed me the wrong way. Um,
Look,
you know,
and I'm
even with
not gonna say that OJ
OJ.
was pro-black, right?
Oh
So
no, I said anti-black sentiment.
no,
Even
right. But
so,
that's
not
that's
pro-black, anti-black.
here to the chat. Y'all are getting me distracted, but it's okay.
But I mean,
Here's
just to
here's
stay
a
on
new point.
topic, I guess to kind of we did steer away. I
No,
don't
it's
think that
actually
because
no,
someone's black.
Marie. It's actually right on fucking par because Bill Cosby, they're missing a point that I've come to. It's an excellent example for what we've been talking about with Mr. Black, right? Because in real time, people are telling me it's the work he's done that, or he's not guilty because he was just doing what other people did. Like, Eve, do you know how much sex tapes are out there? Like, that's not gonna hurt your career. Look, fuck all of y'all because I have 5 minis. So I don't give a shit about other people's sex tapes that are out there. I didn't do that. That wasn't what I did. So that's number one. Number two, um, people are gonna feel like how they feel, and I've known that from the jump. I've never tried to like get people off of their daddy's dick as much as I just wanted them to have access to the information, which is what I wanted to do for you. Which is thank you, Isla, for posting it in the chat because I appreciate my mods. No, I love Isla. She posted in the chat. Check out Nicole's view. And when people have access to more information, that's when you can be all judgy, I think, but without access to, you can't really be mad at their opinion about things. So I personally have never been mad at any of y'all who feel how you feel about your internet daddy because you've been listening to him longer than I've been on the internet. I get it. But when you're presented with more information, I would expect you to put on your critical thinking hat and do some fucking work. Or don't. But don't come to my channel and be like, oh, well, you just feel like how you feel. Fuck y'all. The state of Virginia is the person prosecuting this person for what he did, which was disseminating images of another. And if you wanted to know what images, my images. And if you want to know why, well, I already went into that with Judge Joe Brown in real fucking life.
So can we?
So that's
There's
there.
something ironic I want to point out. You see how he's extremely anonymous, but everyone thinks they know him. They think they know who he is or how he would operate, or kind of even similar to the whole Bill Cosby responses I just seen. You don't fucking know him, just like you don't know him. And he makes it a point to ensure that very little people know as much about him, little about him as they possibly can. Like that's on purpose. That's by design.
By design. Thank you. From there, just like we don't know these celebrities, like, yeah,
And
the
then it was
people who
more
do know them.
out of spite, though. So here's the thing, like, and I'll say this. I've had him tell me stories about other women and even personal things like this said woman had HPV.
I've heard that story too.
So, and the thing is, I thought, like, well, damn, why would you tell me? Like, I really felt bad for her because I'm like, so basically, everything she confided in him, the moment she didn't want to play ball or do what he wanted her to do, it was like she wasn't shit. And she's a single mom and she has HPV. And I was trying to help. Like, I was this guy and I bought her these things and I was doing all this, and And like the nerve of this bitch that had, so to me, to even be that vindictive, and that in itself for me was like the way he would tell me these other women's like their personal things. Like where it was like she had to be
Those were red flags that you didn't ignore, red flags that I did ignore for
oh,
what you
because
talked
it,
about earlier, that I thought Black empowerment was real. So to me, the messenger, that shit was real for me. To you, it wasn't the same because you were more about, where's the evidence of X, Y, Z, and or I also hear you talking like this. So why
but
wouldn't
even for
you talk?
me, it's like it could have been, it easily could have been me. Like it would always be, well, you're on someone else's podcast. Why did you get on their thing? Or, and you would be so great and this and that. And like, I think overall, it's like he uses his position or whatever to like, that's how his allure, that's how he lures women in, like whatever, and again, he finds something like what
Well,
he's telling you is true about you. Oh yes, you're great. You're intelligent. You do blah, blah, blah. You do the thing. And you're like, oh, you're eating. He sees me, but I don't. But I also feel like he sets the tone where it is like it's almost believable. Kind of no different than again, they really like not him, or even if it was him, like I mean, it was just a lapse in judgment. You don't know this man. If someone posted a photo of him today, they would not know who the fuck he was. And having a picture of Bobby Seals or whoever, whatever Black Panther you want to use that week, does not mean we know you. Regurgitating the news does not mean you know someone. Someone that may agree with you or have similar views or align with you in some things does not mean you know them. Some of the most likable people were fucking serial killers. Ted Bundy's a serial killer. You can be a psychopath.
That's very real. And to my not mod all the way free. I didn't know you weren't modded, so my bad. You are getting paid to mod, so shut that up. Um, not Marie, in real time, these people act like because he's so loud, the loudest one in the room, they feel like that's the person who's being the most honest
You
because
mean like loud and calm? Because he makes it a point that he uses this monotone voice. He doesn't necessarily react, and that makes him more trustworthy, because God forbid you display emotion or be passionate about something, or you not be as methodical.
well, actually, I got told that I was not interesting enough, you guys. The people who are listening to me that say that I'm worth listening to, I was told that I'm not dramatic enough. I'm not that angry Black woman that you guys would expect. And look, I just wanted to just share this with you. Uh, he's admitting 2 more moderators for the
You
Black.
probably might need him in the event that he's not available.
So if you want, email him at theblackauthority@yahoo.com. Just know that if he doesn't recognize you in the chat, he's not going to choose you. Also, if you don't have
Maybe
it
you're a pretty face.
you with, right, and also if you don't have a pretty face, um, well, actually, Marie, some people have been saying that Eve doesn't even look like somebody he posted he would talk to, and
What does that even look like? I have tattoos. I'm divorced. He
not
wants. He
tattoos
wants
and divorce. No, Marie, you're light skin with with the good hair. Well, actually, I think we have the same hair, but let me not even go on that. You're like light skin, and I'm not. So we got a lot of colorist self hate things going on in our community, and I think some of these men, they
Well,
might.
it goes back to what he promotes or what he talks about, right? He talks down on women with tattoos. I think even one time he had me on the biz, and he took this photo, which I did not like the photo he used to promote me on there. And it was like where I was actually, I was going on a date, y'all. And so I had like this little low cut thing and my little cleavage out. The photo I wanted to use, it was probably look more similar to the one we have on our on the millennials adulting, very conservative. And it was like he chose that particular one, and it was like
Like that.
and they're saying, yeah, so that was the one I wanted to use, fully like whatever. Because I care about respect. But anyhow, he took the other one, and then it's like, they keep saying that you have a tattoo. They keep mentioning the tattoo, but I don't care. Like, what you do care. You go on social media all day long and you tell people you care about that, and the woman has less value because of that. But now you don't. You, oh, lucky me. I'm so glad that you're willing to overlook that about me. How kind of you to
Aw,
bestow that upon me.
nice of him to talk to you like that in the background, right? Didn't you feel so special? No, you didn't feel special. You could
I'm
see.
like, so you're a fucking liar. Really, you're a fraud. And if I were to get on, so, and that was the thing too. So it was like, I kind of got tired where it's like, if I just really just blast your ass or eat you up on social media and just show people, but too, I feel like too, that's why even he does things the way he does it. Even like how he asked you for what he asked you for, then presented a different way. When he asked me for photos of me, he verbalized it. It wasn't in a chat. It took him 3 days to ask me for them. Like he had to, I guess, work it out, come up with the terms or something. And then if I sent him my photos, then he would feel comfortable confiding in me and sharing more of his life. But he needed to know that he could trust me. And so he needed me to send him inappropriate photos of me.
I mean, that's exactly what I mean about extortionable. So to the future mods, just know that unless he's changed his ways, you will have to be extortionable before he
But
will.
please don't send up that man no photos, like ever, ever,
I
ever.
mean, send it if you know that they're going to be used, because I'm letting you know right the fuck now. Here's me letting you know something, and I'm going to be very clear. So, Marie, let me know when the screen has changed so I can be super fucking clear.
It's changed.
Now, should you go and do something extortionable with a person who is on trial right now, who was released on summons to return to court? Here you go. Here's the update. Today is April 22nd. It was continued. The arraignment was continued for June 26th. Why? He wasn't there, but to a very big point, his lawyer was there, Mr. McCormick. You can look him up, Jay McCormick out of Virginia Beach, and he represents the worst of the worst. But to a very big point that we've been talking about tonight, Bill Cosby, was able to use the system. So Marie doesn't agree with being able to use the system the way that it's designed. And, some white people don't agree with how OJ was able to use the system as designed. And if you murder somebody, maybe you hire somebody who gets people off for murders. But if you engage in revenge porn, then maybe you would hire someone who gets people off for engaging in revenge porn. And as such, in the state of
That's
Virginia,
just some whole shit, to be honest with you. Like, who does that?
well, that's the thing,
Like,
Marie.
you
I feel
have to
like,
be a weak ass man to go and share something like that. And then didn't he try to make it seem like you sent it to him, like involuntarily, like
right,
like
he
like you was
made
out
it
sending
seem like
unsolicited
I
dick
was
pics?
just a groupie,
Like,
just
yes,
sending him some shit just because
just
I
cause I just wanted you to see me.
man, I don't
And
want
it's
anybody
just
to see me.
so podcasty, so male podcasting vibe to me. Like, and look,
But
like
like if I had known about the Tommy Sotomayor connection, then I might not have really believed the Black empowerment side of things. So to all of you guys who've been listening for 15 plus years, what made you change? If you knew that he was on Tommy's blah blah, if you knew that he was on Tommy Sotomayor's dick, what made you overlook that and think that he was Mr. Black Empowerment? Because it was all of y'all. Shout out to Jason Reed, who's been super transparent in the chat. It was all of y'all who got a lot of us on Mr. Black Empowerment, who ended up not being Mr. Eat This, Drink This, Breathe This. How do I know? Because I've seen it in real time. Why do I know? Because I am Eat This, Drink This, Breathe This. A lot of the things that he talks about is things that I've talked about, things that my man's talked about, that I've talked to him about. And then he minds the content because it's about the message, right? Not the messenger. And
so
y'all wouldn't even know this shit if this person hadn't had a human emotional response to not getting his way. And a very big point, you're allowed to, be a human, but if you get caught murdering somebody because you blacked out and had an angry episode, like, I mean, if some if you go to man shit if you go to trial for murdering said person and you get found, how is that anybody's fault but your own for not getting away with it? So Jeremy, one
to
more thing,
me,
Marie, one more thing. This is what he did. He went on his main channel and told everybody, go to my Patreon, which is behind a paywall. And then it's also a private link where he's already conditioned the audience to not share the links. So essentially, this was supposed to happen, and I wasn't even supposed to know. So it would have just been some shit that happened, and we would have been talking about it the next day. But in real time, there were thorough people who had my back and let me know about what was going on. And as such, I have fucking evidence, Jeremy. That's why the state of Virginia said that there's enough reason to take your ass to court. From there, I think it'd be easier for you to just say that you did it and that you didn't mean to have a fuckboy response to not getting your way. And then maybe the state will go light on you. But Virginia doesn't like niggas. So I don't know why you would have done that here. But Louisiana doesn't like niggas either. So, I hope you're ready for that too. But okay, I'm sorry. That was what I wanted to say, Marika.
It made me think about something, and I think about timeline. You know what I mean? And I think about timelines of what's trendy. And so I want to say 2024, I mean 2014, 2013, 2013, 2014. A lot of the
Don't respond to that. Go ahead.
oh sorry. So the Tommy Sotomayor reference, right? And then now when I start to think about when he started kind of emerging as the Black empowerment was also during the heavy Black identity movement among African Americans. Because even too, a lot of us were a part of different organizations. And so we all kind of, because even too, I didn't realize he was even had a following until one of my comrades, I used to be a part of a company or organization called Black Empowerment Movement, and they had heard me on his broadcast, and they were just like, I guess they were big fans because of his typical rhetoric or his pro-Black rhetoric. Some of the times, though, too, it didn't always come across pro-Black, or it still was like he had different policies for different things. Like even too, for a man to be against Black women dating white men, I mean, that's fine if that's your personal preference, but then I don't think that you can fetish a biracial woman. And we're going to say I'm biracial in this moment. So in this moment, you cannot actually actively be trying to fuck me or date me or have a child by me and then drag the shit out of a woman that is choosing to be with a white man if that's what she wants to be.
And that's part of
And
the
that was the episode I was on, by the way. So
okay,
that was why that was right.
because then he's going to use everything you say against you and make it seem like you've agreed to said subsequent behavior and treatment for why he treats you the way that he was going to treat you. To the chat, Lady Stoic, thank you for your comment. Cosby was released due to a technicality, and you have your stance on that. Look, I don't think Cosby was guilty of what he was charged for. That's my stance. From there, if the prosecution had charged him with something else, maybe I'd think he's guilty. I don't know.
So that's the irony, though.
Hold on, Marie. I want to get out what I want to get out because people think that I'm wishy-washy. I'm not. If Jeremy got out on a technicality, that's the system. I didn't want to call the cops on him because I know what the system does to us. That shit fucked with me in a very big way. But also, I know that niggas ain't really outside. People keep telling me, Eve, why didn't you go to the elders? What elders? Point me out to them and let me know these elders that I'm supposed to go to seek justice because I don't know where they are. And then for what it's worth, the elders that are out here that I do respect, they've told me to seek justice in the best way that my family sees fit. And so far, I think that for me, justice would be to make sure that nobody has to go through this shit again. So people have listened to him very carefully, and he talks about Cassie, and he talks about these civil suits, and he talks about the bag. I'm not really talking about no bag as much as I just really want us to get what's owed to us. And people keep saying that we're not ready, or we're going to blow the bag, or we're going to do this. And we've got all these people in the way. People like Jeremy are in the way. These old niggas that he keeps talking about, he is those old niggas that we keep talking about. And if you're a millennial on this channel listening to me, I hope that you're ready to take the reins because it's our time. right now in real time, my state is doing things to make sure that we can have a voice with regards to our reparative justice, and that's to me is a big thing. Maybe it's not a big thing to you. Maybe you're just a person who wants billboards put up and hoping that the general public can agree with your stance on things. But I think that if you want shit done, you got to talk to the people who get shit done. So we do that, right? And then I can't be mad about the outcome because at least, well, I mean, I might be mad at the outcome, but at least I did something, right? I didn't just listen to somebody talk about the shit that needs to be done. A lot of them, a lot of y'all listen to somebody tell you what needs to be done and then you don't actually do anything. So if Jeremy was released on a technicality, then I mean, that's the system not wanting me to get justice, but at least y'all know what happened. I've never wavered on what's happened to me. And if these women stopped pillow talking to me and got more bold like Marie, then y'all would know about this other shit that he's done. But if this shit goes to trial, y'all are going to know about some shit that was done because that's like the rabbit hole that y'all don't want to go down. It's Nature Boy times a billion. Well, maybe not times a billion because Nature Boy was like fucking in front of kids. I don't know that Jeremy's doing that. He's never met my minis, so I don't know. But some of these pillow talkers, he's met their minis, and the things he's done in front of them, I'm gonna just let y'all know that y'all would have definitely known who Jeremy was if he had tried that shit in front of my minis. But let me not go there. And Marie, I had cut you off because I needed to
It's
get.
okay because there was like 50 things that ran through my mind. Like, one, I don't see there really being a technicality because anytime you when it comes to images, like there's laws in general about that period. You're not supposed to do that, whether you shared it with him or not. It doesn't give him the right to then post it publicly. Um, that being said, though, I do think that kind of how everyone kind of got up in arms a little Cosby. I do think that Jeremy's going to kind of pull the coveted role, and everyone's going to some degree. Reason why I've never said anything, right? And even too, he's like, you don't talk to me as much, and I just kept my distance because you put on this whole role and then you act like you have this whole respectable shit and you're really kind of a piece of shit. I know, but the thing is, how to you do it in such a way where it's not documented. You know what I mean?
Mm, that's
Um,
why he asked you verbally versus texting it.
yeah, he would text, and then even sometimes too, it's like he would, if he did contact me with like different phones, or then he has both his other messenger, just different things like that. But he prefers
Right.
phone conversations. So unless you're recording and then he's calling you, you're not really calling him. So unless you're recording the conversation, even too, you're not thinking that this is this man. Like so honestly, once he asked me for photos, that was when our relationship kind of just, because I'm like, what the fuck? It kind of just rubbed me the wrong way because
Mhm.
historically I've had a lot of men use their influence to try to manipulate me to sleep with me or whatever. Um, and it kind of just gets old sometimes. Like, you just would like to just have people that genuinely just are good people, or hey, they see, hey, I think you're very talented, or you're great at articulating things. I think you're good at this or whatever. And then the idea for you to and then the idea for you to kind of just be like everyone else or low vibrational. There's times where I would like post something, and if I was showing too much cleavage, he would, Marie, send me a message like, I'm like, well, first of all, these my titties. I was documenting how great I look this day, but it was problematic. But so let me get this right. I can't post my picture of myself with some cleavage. I'm a grown ass woman. I'm almost 40.
No,
But
that's cleavage, Marie. You can't show his cleavage to the
But
world.
but I can send you a video or send you something of me that's acceptable to you. And then the irony is, like, I'm actually kind of uptight. The joke around my friends is I'm the prude. So I'm definitely not a picture video sender kind of fucking person, just really not who I am. I'm a sapio. I love to talk. We can, but like that. So for me, that was like that's when I just started to keep my distance. But I will say this, we had mutual contacts too. And I never told them, just because who's really going to believe me? He has all these
The
fucking
thing,
people.
exactly.
It's like all these people, and I mean, anything he says, they will eat it up. Like one day he was talking about Olive Garden, and legitimately, Olive Garden is the lowest of the low as far as dining in food. And these motherfuckers were like going in about how Olive Garden will have your food at the table for 30 within 30 minutes. And I mean, there were so many men co-signing him, and yeah, and these women do. And it's like, what the fuck are you even talking about? But no one cared that nothing he said was really, it was kind of all lucid, and they just still supported him. It was still like, yeah, these women should have the food brought to you within 30 minutes, and because, and then even, I think he even brought a Waffle House, and there's some other, like, what? Who
No,
is
that shit
eating
was.
here?
I
Who
was
is
about
eating at these fucking poor dining? Who's having these poor dining experiences? Well, if you'd like a fucking
poor,
smash burger,
poor dining experience.
I'm like, I don't,
He's
I would
not,
not eat there.
he's not shitting on the $30 lunches, y'all, as much as we've already had that conversation. You can check it out on the channel. But no, Olive Garden is not fucking top tier Italian restaurant. You will get better authentic Italian restaurant food at a hole in the wall Italian restaurant in your
I've had some
city
of the best at a hole in the wall.
than you would at Olive Garden. Fucking Olive Garden.
But it was like he used that to
Yeah,
condemn women that weren't
exactly.
quick
You
enough
don't
to
have a
bring.
meal done in 30 minutes, but you just went to Olive Garden. In real time, he was really excited about lobster. What's that place? Red Lobster's Alfredo sauce. And I'm like, that should
Wow.
really? Okay.
He
But
was
look,
like,
in real time, he was learning how to make Alfredo sauce. So,
but I ain't gonna front. I've been to Shreveport. They don't have a lot of restaurants, so I'm not even gonna pretend like, And no, I wasn't there with him. But I've definitely been to Shreveport multiple times, living in Texas. The little casinos are there, but their restaurants aren't really anything to write home about. So maybe it was just all that he's been exposed to.
And that's the thing. He uses other people's experiences and he's very loud about that. And you guys will think that he's the authority on things because he said so. So that's on y'all to do your critical thinking. I will tell you very plainly, and I've been very honest about the fact that I've always had questions. If y'all are friends with me on Facebook, you've seen where I've gotten, quote, unmodded, remodded because I'm, quote, uncoachable. Like I've always had questions. Like this shit is crazy. But at the end of the day, to me, Black empowerment was what he was talking about. And because that's how I live, I I resonated with that. When I saw in real time that's not how he lived, I moved away from there unmessy like, and then y'all's favorite internet daddy decided to get messy, which is why we are here today. To the chat, Major Pain, what he did around children. Look, this is what I'm talking about. Women are pillow talking to me and they want me to tell y'all their story. I'm not going to do that as much as I'm going to let y'all know that some of the shit these women have experienced, I wouldn't have experienced that. Or it would have been a one and done. Like y'all would have found out about him way before you found out about him if he had tried some shit like that around me or my children. And to a very big point, I asked him in real time if he was recording our conversations, and he said no. But I've also found out in real time that he recorded every single conversation that I've ever had with him. So, should he ever want to make the conversations public, you guys would see in real time that he was never allowed around my children or around my minis or even here to be an influence as much as y'all want him to be an influence on your minis, which is what we were talking about tonight. How are y'all talking to your minis about the internet? Because these cults of personalities are deep. And if you're not having any conversation with them, then they're in these spaces, they're talking to people who people like, and then they're falling down rabbit holes and you're not there. And if you're not there, then you're going to find out about some shit that happened versus being in the in the on the side of preventative measures. You don't want to be reactive, you want to be proactive. And again, on this channel, I hope that we are giving you ways to be proactive and having conversations with our minis about the shit that we've either experienced or have seen or something that we can learn from. You can't shy away from that shit. Not now, not when they're exposed to everything. Marie, any final thoughts?
Um, as I was reading the comments, honestly, I feel like that Always look a little further into people, their background, whatever, how they move, what they operate, and pay attention to if they're talking about things that are really they're passionate about or things that are just trending. Because one thing I will say, even when we talk about this, going back to the Tommy Sotomayor, to the Black identity movement, to moving away from that, to then being like now all these superficial conversations about material things. To me, that's somebody that's playing into whatever the latest trend is. If it's pitting men against women, whatever it is that's going to get viewership, that's what he's doing. And that's not someone that's authentic or genuine.
That sounds like a grift. Are you talking about a grift, Marie?
I mean, if the shoe fits.
Look, y'all look at her posts and be like, she's talking about me. And then y'all get so mad. And then sometimes we are talking about you. And I mean, if it walks like a duck, look, don't be mad at us for calling it a duck. Be mad at the fact that you're a duck. If you
But
don't
let me
want to be a
say
duck,
too, I want to say this, that I think that you're kind of like, even I feel like you're being courageous. Like I said, I didn't say shit because I was like, who's really going to listen to me or who's really going to believe me? But I know, I know what I know, and I'm gonna leave it at that, and I'm gonna move different, or I'm not gonna be a part of anything because I already don't trust this person's behavior based off of whatever. But I feel like being able to get up here, speak, and then too, to have so many people think that maybe you're not being fully honest, or even if you are being honest, like, he's still not a bad guy. Like, I think that speaks volumes to just how easily influenced and how easily manipulated some of, like, a lot of people are on social media, how weak-minded they are. Even to imagine that someone could do that to someone and then be like, well, maybe it was just a lapse in judgment, which was an extreme, like it was premeditated. It wasn't like it was just, it was a slip up. Like, this is like he went into like a total extreme and planned it and really had the intentions of doing that all along. That's why he had he asked for that, to
mm-hmm.
use that in the event that he ever needed it. He had it. Ain't no telling what he got on other people.
That's
You know what
right.
I mean?
Right.
And then for you to still have to, for you to still to stand up for yourself. And then to some degree, because this has come out, I highly doubt that it's going to happen to someone else, because people are going to be aware now.
Thank you. Marie, I really appreciate you saying that on the program because in real time, a lot of people have told me that it would be easier to just move on. And I feel like that's what I was doing before all of this happened. So then people are like, well, just move on again. And it's like, how many times do we have to be the bigger person? And not even that I was being a lower person, but I've seen comments where it's like, well, taking the high road doesn't exist over here. The fuck do you mean the high road? If the bully is knocking you in the head 58 times and then you swing back once, shout out to Israel and Iran. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to go into that
I
next
would have loved to go into that, but
no, but like if the little guy swings back once and it happens to knock the bully out, that's some David and Goliath shit. And I'm not saying I'm David and I'm not saying he's Goliath, but in real time he's telling y'all he's Malcolm. He's telling y'all he's Khalid Muhammad. He is taking y'all's recognition and soaring with it. And I'm just Eve, right? This channel is not to tell y'all how to do anything as much as I feel like we have experiences, we can learn from each other. And that's what the elders didn't do. They didn't talk to each other about what they were doing as much as maybe you heard about some discipline that happened to, somebody's child or whatever. Or, maybe you're super older and you were in the realm of your neighbors being able to hand out discipline because your mom was at work or whatever. But in real time, we've got a lot of shit that we're dealing with and trying to make things make sense. And Black people, especially, have an even harder time with trying to run on the hamster wheel and parent and live our lives. Like, I don't think that we should have to cower because we're Black. I don't think that we should be trying to be the white supremacists in charge. I think that we should be trying to aim for some sort of balance. Like, that's where the world should be balanced. Like, people say, oh, global warming or the animals, or, they have really genuine, benign thoughts about the fucked up shit that's happening in the world. But
I believe in
real
manipulation.
time, It's resources. If you really cared about the animals or the climate, then you would make sure the people who were fucking with the animals and the climate weren't in power. But if you're listening to people like Jeremy or the boule that he tells you that not to listen to, or the Democratic and Republican shills that they tell you not to listen to, but then you don't go do something, well then you're part of the problem. I don't want to be part of the problem. I want to solve problems. I don't want to pass problems down. So to the minis, this episode of Millennials Adulting was for you because we don't have time to waste. Like Marie's minis are in college. One of them is in college already, and the other one's almost there. And my oldest mini is right behind her, and there's no fucking time, right? But then y'all are listening to people who don't have minis telling you how to run the world and tell you what needs to be. Nah, that's a little ass backwards if you ask me. So I just I'm glad to be able to provide an update. As the case unfolds, I will be providing more updates. So stay tuned to more episodes of Millennials Adulting. Y'all have a good night.
Supplemental learning for your mini. But you can learn too. Don't send your mini into the belly of the beast unarmed. Courses, practical math, language, the code, our story, and more. An institution founded by us, dedicated to us and our fight for justice. Here you will learn ways to combat the system using the same information they are trying to keep away from you. Welcome to FBA Sunday School.
What's up, everybody? It's Eve. Follow me on Twitter and YouTube for space recordings and special live programs. 2024, we're doing things a little different if you haven't peeped game by now. So yeah, this is your chance. You can do it now if you want. Hit the bell here on YouTube at JustEveB or find me on X at Justice4 Us. That's JUSTICE 4 JUST_US. And if you feel so inclined, support my channel and the work we do over here. The Cash App and Patreon links are in the description. Black first.